Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on the next edition of Honey Centrifuge. Yesterday, you all got a nice treat, only there was no audio. We've got that all fixed out now. I've got the Honey Centrifuge tipped over to drain out every last little bit of honey. There's still a little bit in there. Oopsies. But we'll be able to polish off that last little bit later. So what we're going to do is squeeze that out. Put this little clasp down. Clasp here at the bottom. Just close that up. Drop this down. And show off the honey. Oh yeah. Oh, honeylicious. Put that up there. Try to get as much honey off the floor as possible. Alright. So today, we're going to do the polishing touches on it because there's still a little bit of traces of wax in it. And then also yesterday, we had scraped the combs clean. So this is what it looks like when we suck out everything. And then this we cleaved out because we wanted to gather every last little bit of honey and wax because the bees left it because the ants got into it. And so usually when we get done centrifuging, we just leave it with the open caps and the trace amounts still in there. And then that way the bees have something they can just fill right back up nice and quickly, as well as having a little bit of honey they can feed on in the process. And then they'd repackage that. But because of the ants and no one returning back to that hive, we went with sort of a scorched the earth approach. And we basically only left the wax that they never really capped. And then we just scraped everything clean to get every last little droplet. And that's what we've got going on right here. I've got a little bit of a Rube Goldbergian elaborate setup here where I'm basically having it drip through. And then I've slowly but surely been going through and compressing it to get every last little bit out of there. And I think it's pretty much ready. So we got a little bit still coursing through there. Oh, that's promising. Well, maybe I needed to crush it a little bit more and let it sit a little bit longer. But I think that's enough for example's sake to do what we're going to do, which is I'm going to put it over this cheesecloth and I'm going to get every last little bit out of it. So I'm just going to put that, actually, whoops, I'm going to open that up. Put that in there. This is the cool part. Oh, voila. You can still see it glistening with honey. Ooh, this is a little bit too much, I think. I may have needed to break this up into more manageable pieces. That's okay. What's done is done. Let's see if we can make this possible. So I'm just going to flip this over. And I'm basically going to just wring it so I can get every last little bit of honey out of there. Get you guys a slightly better view. So you can see, ooh, I got a little bit of wax coming through because I kind of overfilled it. So this is honestly optional. We could easily just kind of run this down, but I wanted to just kind of do an experiment and see just how much I could get by just crushing this wax. Oh. So this is after centrifuging, after going through a mild strainer. And then I mentioned this last night, professional beekeepers probably are a little bit confused and horrended at the budgetness of this, but that's okay. Maybe we can get one of you professional beekeepers out there to do a live stream for us at some point. So we're just getting every last little bit out of there. Oh yeah, delicious. And it's a lot of fun licking your hands afterwards. So what I could do also is get a little thing like this, put it up there, and then just let it sit. And I can continue to just let it dribble through. So I can crush it really good, and then just let it set. And then I washed my hands really good. And then if you're a little paranoid about this, what you could do is you could pasteurize your honey. Me, I'm just gonna Give myself a nice little sugar rush there. Oh my. Oh my indeed. Whoops. And I just did an oopsies. I got my strain wet, which I wasn't supposed to do quite yet. Oh no. Because I was going to run this jar with the last little bits through this thing right here. So I think what I'll do is I'll just do a quick little, I'll just dab it a little bit. Because you don't want to mix too much water with honey, because part of the preservative power of honey is in the fact that there's not a lot of water in there. It's basically just pure sugar. For instance, sugar will never ever expire. Only if it gets wet and moisture in it does sugar have the chance of going bad. But as long as you keep it pure, it lasts forever. That's why honey is so great, because it also has a complete protein, amino acid complement. So if you're starving and you have no other food to eat and you're on a desert island, honey has everything that you need. So I'm gonna get a new little, and then I'm gonna put the camera over here. This is the remotely clean area. So what we're gonna do is, oh my, this never got cleaned. I don't know how that got into the clean dishes. Alrighty then. I gotta think creatively about how I'm gonna do this then. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll just use this big kahuna right here. And it looks pretty clean. I'll just give it a quick wipe down just to make sure. I guess I'm not exactly ready for this live stream yet. There we go. And so everything in that strainer right there, if you saw the other live stream that we did, we took this saw and we were scraping off, let's put that out. We were scraping off the top of the combs like this to get rid of the cap. And then we were, obviously it didn't look like that in the actual video, but that's what we did. And then we put it into the centrifuge to take off the cap to get access to the honey. And so that's a little review of last week. And so all that comb was left to drip over in that strainer, and now it's in that cheesecloth so that we can get every last little bit out of it. And so just looking at that right now, we probably have another couple tablespoons of some good honey coming off of that. And then part 3 of this honey series, we're going to show you how to rend that down. Maybe get that last little bit of honey out. Maybe we'll go and put it through a mesh to get even more out. But in the meantime, I want to get everything in this barrel nice and processed. So I'm just going to go ahead and just dump this through. I'm going to get all those little chunks out of there. I can hope that my wrists can hold up to the weight of all this honey. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'd say we're working with maybe about a solid gallon of honey here. And we can literally be making this maybe every 6 months from the bees. You know, for all the concern people have about the honeybees, the European honeybees, they're all over the world now. You'll find them in big time honey producers in Vietnam, Brazil. Not bad for something whose original geographic range was just the hillsides of Europe. I'd say that's not too bad for a species. As they say, if you want to guarantee your species existence through this little Holocene extension, hope that you get domesticated by humans, I guess. Sorry, vegans, I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's true. Alright, so that's pretty much all of it. So that's at least enough for example's sake. And wow, that filled up really fast. So now the best thing to do would be to let this sit, but this whole tub filled up really fast. There's still just a little bit left to do in there, so I think what I'll do, I'll top off this container as well. Or actually, I I already made like a little clever stand out of it. How did I do that before? Gotta find, oh, that's right. There we go. Put that there. I need to prop that up just a little bit more. Oh yeah, folks, we're going full MacGyver tonight. Propping stuff up, wedging it. Let's do this on top of this. Oh yeah, look at that. Now it's suspended above. How much weight can that take? Ooh, not very much at all. I'm gonna have to be careful about that. Oh, unless, I wedge it underneath the stove there. Readjust that. Moment of truth. Oh, nice. So I've already been fairly Roman about my process, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue the trend. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to, after I scrape this, I'm going to rinse it, because I want to use this to store all the honey, because there's so much of it. I need one easy container for all of it. So now, you may be thinking, is this really the best way to do this? Hell no, it is not. What we should have done is, as it was emptying our honey centrifuge, we should have had it already going through some sort of filter of some sort, and then had it empty into this jar. So that's how we're going to improve things in the future. And then I don't need to be awkwardly coming in here, scraping the sides, trying to get every last little bit. There we go. And there's still going to be a fair amount of honey. What I'll do, actually, is pull the plate, flip it over, and I'll just let that dribble down there, just like that needs to. So now let's check on our cheesecloth. So we have a nice clean layer of honey there. Pretty much crushed it. For all the honey that it's got in there, I could maybe get, another couple tablespoons out of there, but it really wouldn't be worth it. I guess, as they say, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, or in this case, the honeycomb. And another thing I've noticed is the harder I press it, the less clear the honey is. It's becoming a little bit more cloudy, and that's because the pollen that is also mixed into the comb is starting to mix with it. And there is different grades of honey. You'll get dark and you'll get lighter honey, depending on the age, and I suppose what's in the environment of the bees at the time, if they're getting a lot of pollen in there. So I'm just doing some very wonderfully hygienic technique there. And then what we'll do is we'll just put this wax in a jar, and we'll refine it down later. So let's see here. Thought I had a jar ready. I guess I don't. I guess we're just going to stick that right there. Alright. So that's pretty much it. We're just kind of showing off the straining today, and to sort of test to make sure I've got my audio working, which I do believe I do now. Because what I'll do is, after this is done draining, I'll rinse it, clean it off, and then I'm going to pour all this honey into this big jar. And then when we do the video on refining that, we'll also show you our finished project. And then we'll show you, because I'd say this one frame, we had 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 of these. And I'd say only about half of them were actually full. So we didn't even have a full tray. We got easily a gallon of honey right there. So let's say, ideal scenario, we could be getting 5 gallons of honey, 5-gallon buckets worth of honey on at least a yearly basis out of just our small 1/4 acre space at Rogers. Pretty impressive stuff. And on top of that, we get all this wax as well, which we can use for a variety of, well, not only cosmetic, but also functional stuff as well. We're hoping to, once we start growing more mushrooms, we're going to use the wax of the bees to seal the mushroom logs, because you drill a hole in the wood, oak, and then you put your inoculant like reishi or shiitake mushroom, and then you use the beeswax that you refine from your beekeeping process to cap that hole as that inoculant spreads into and starts growing into the log, which eventually fruits into mushrooms. So all sorts of cool stuff to do with that wax. Tune in next time. I think that's enough for the day. Oh yeah, you can see all that deliciousness. Maybe, oh wait, there we go, there's some good lighting. You can see that last little bit of honey that's pooled there at the bottom. Delicious. Can't wait. And then I'll give it a little spin for good measure. It's just fun watching it spin. All right, that's it, folks. We'll see you later.